All right there, folks. Welcome. Um, we are about to begin one of the biggest projects of the entire term, and so I wanted to make sure that I was adequately explaining what the project is so you understand what my expectations are. But I also wanted to let you know, and I have that in Google Classroom, I'm about to share this assignment out. And I wanted to make sure you know because this is such a large project, I want to give you adequate amount of time to complete it. Also to bounce in and ask questions. Remember, I do have office hours every day from 1 until 2. I don't see many of you very often, so it'd be nice to see some of you. So if you guys are struggling with any of the technology behind this project, because it is a little bit more involved than a typical project, or anything else, there should be plenty of time because you'll notice right here, it is not actually going to be due until next week, Wednesday, May the 6th. So at the end of that day, we'll be starting new stuff on that Thursday and actually finishing this unit at the end of next week and moving on to our next unit, ecology, which is actually my favorite unit in the entire course. So I just want to explain it. I actually have two other documents. So attached to this assignment, obviously, is the explainer video that you're watching right now. But then I'm also going to be adding these two documents that I'm about to talk about right now. So you're essentially going to be making a video project. So I'm going to walk through the scenario with you. So we talked some about Charles Darwin in class, and as you guys probably recall, he's considered the father of evolutionary biology because he was the one that literally wrote the book on evolution. The book was called On the Origin of Species. It was published in 1859, and at the time of his publication, folks, people hated him. He was hated by the Church of England. Everyone thought that he was sacrilegious, and it's because, as I've discussed before, people didn't understand his book. A lot of people claimed that Charles Darwin um, was trying to say that God and Jesus aren't real, and that we all came from monkeys. But remember, all of that was a misinterpretation. Charles Darwin never said how life was created in the first place. As a matter of fact, Charles Darwin himself was actually a deeply religious man. What Charles Darwin did argue is that since life began on this planet, it's been slowly changing over time to adapt to its environment. And he has tons of evidence to support that. And that is going to be the point of this project. I want you guys to pretend that you are alive in 1859 when he publishes this book. And I want you to pretend that he is about to stand trial for heresy and sacrilege, which, believe it or not, is something that people did at the time. It was ridiculous. Like if you said something that people considered outlandish, you could actually go to prison for it. So I want you to essentially serve as his defense attorney, or like a political action fund, something like that in modern time. And I want you to create a TV ad that comes to his defense. That is this project. You are going to create a commercial that would air on television that argues why Charles Darwin's theory is not baseless. Quite the contrary, you're going to argue that it is completely supported by scientific evidence, and in the commercial, I want you to present that evidence. So you can kind of think about modern day political ads. A lot of them are just bogus. A whole bunch of propaganda and stuff meant to like brainwash you. I don't want you to do that. Obviously, this is a science class. I want you to actually present facts and evidence to support claims. And so I'm going to kind of walk you through how to collect that information first and then how to make the video. So I am aware, by the way, right here, I'm aware that televisions did not exist until the 1920s. And so this kind of makes no sense, but we're going to pretend they did. So we're going to pretend that you were existing in the 1850s and that TVs existed too, and you're going to create this fun little TV commercial. By the way, sometimes people will ask, how long does the commercial need to be? I don't have a set length. I would think that if it's under 2 minutes, you probably are missing information, and if it's over 5, you probably just have too much. And you should figure out how to summarize it. So I would estimate that when you're all said and done, your final video will be between 2 and 5 minutes, but I really can't say because I'm looking for quality over quantity. But ultimately, you will need 4 pieces of evidence, so we'll talk about that. So I did put together a checklist for you to complete this project well. By the way, this project is covering 3 standards. So actually you're going to double the standards covered in this class when you complete this project. It's a really, really big project. So please invest time in it. That's why I'm giving you so much class time to do it. And then I just recommend, as you complete this, since you can't check a box, on your computer, I just recommend, if you finish step 1, you can just highlight it like this. Then you're done with it, or you can cross it out too, right? You can highlight or select it like that, and you could always do the strike through, to know that you completed it. It's totally up to you how you want to categorize it yourself. But step 1 is just to do your research. You're probably going to spend a couple days just doing research, like 1 or 2 days. And you can probably divide up your research into 4 or 5 categories. I actually have these categories for you, like how I would recommend that you do your research. So I put that in Appendix A, and I thought you could always just copy and paste this into your research document. So by the way, you'll notice under step 1, I do have here after do your research, it says see the separate research and video storyboard document. So I do want you to actually maybe do side-by-side windows. So as you pull your research out, you can have your research document in one. Here's your research document, by the way. I'm going to try to pull it up here. All right, so maybe you can have like your research up in one window, and then you could be typing notes in the other one. It's kind of up to you. You could always, maybe do the research on your phone, and then if you have your Chromebook up, so you can start typing it in. But don't make it harder than it has to be. You're really just summarizing the research. And I kind of gave you the gist of it at the bottom here. So I think that the Khan Academy does a really good job. I kind of stole this from Khan Academy's website of 5 main categories of evidence to support the idea that evolution is real. So that's where I would start, and you're going to record that here. Whoops, sorry. I'm going to try to zoom in on this again. You're going to start recording your research under this part right here, obviously. Anything that's red usually is stuff, remember, that you're going to change. These are the 4 websites I think are the best for doing your research, but you can do your research wherever you want, folks. I'm not going to limit you. Obviously, I want you looking at credible websites, though. Wikipedia is fine. If you can find a Wikipedia article that has evidence for evolution, that's fine too. But I really do think Khan Academy is a great place to start, and PBS. These are my 2 favorites. But both of these websites are good too. These second 2 websites are obviously written more for college level students and higher. So that's why I would start with Khan Academy and PBS, because that's written more for high school students like yourselves. So I would just, start, making bullet points of all of the different pieces of evidence to support the claim. And again, if you want to categorize it, if you want to categorize it like I have categorized it for you in this appendix, so there's anatomical evidence, there's molecular, biogeographical, fossil, and direct observation evidence. And I even give you some ideas here, folks, but I want you to go a little bit beyond what I give you. But you're going to put your research there. And then you're going to notice step 2, let me go back here, is you're going to write your storyboard. Now, your research and your storyboard are different, because your research is probably going to be a little bit more wordy. So maybe when you're doing research, you're going to explain how fossils are evidence that evolution happened, right? Because it's showing animals that no longer walk the planet and how they're similar to animals that currently walk the planet, and so on and so forth, and looking at fossil layers and blah, blah, blah. You're probably going to have to be a little bit wordier up in your evidence part. But when you're figuring out what you're going to put in your video, you're going to have to figure out how to be a little bit more concise. So I said you should summarize your evidence into just a couple, just a few sentences. And then you don't want a ton of text, right? Try to be as concise as possible and then still get your point across. So I think it'll make more sense once you get your research done. These 2 steps probably will actually take the longest, because once you're done with step 1 and step 2, folks, making the video is not actually that bad, because WeVideo, which is what I'm going to recommend that you use, is really awesome, and it's got tons of stock video footage and so on and so forth, and images and all that stuff for you. It's got free music, and that's as long as you upgrade. And so that's the last thing I want to talk about. So step 3 is going to be creating your video. I'm hoping that by the end of this week you're starting creating your video, and then remember you'll have Monday, Tuesday, and the end of the day on Wednesday to get this done. So I'm thinking maybe this week will be working on your research, and then hopefully by the end of the day on Friday, you guys are all sharing your scripts with me so I can take a look and give you some suggestions, and then you can start editing your video. Well, I mean, you can start earlier, but if you aren't starting to make your video by Monday, I think you're falling behind. Okay, so once you're finished with your script, I am going to. Once you're finished with your script, you are then, I can upgrade you to the premium account. I'm not going to share the upgrade code though, folks, until you show me your script, because I don't want you to get ahead of yourself. If you've never used WaveVideo before, I do have a little tutorial video that I found for you that I strongly recommend that you watch, because I'm going to show you how to use WeVideo. It's really easy. And then, please make sure before you publish your video, double check that everything is professional looking, right? You shouldn't have weird grammar errors and stuff. That's really, really a gripe that I have when people make videos that just have tons of spelling errors. And then, make sure you have at least 4 pieces of evidence in your commercial, your little propaganda, little political ad, and then you're going to publish it, and then you're going to share a link to your video back with me. You're going to just attach it. So when you're responding to the assignment, you can add a link, and on your end, that's what I want you to share with me. That is your final grade. So this document and the other document are really for you. I do want you, I am going to take a look at it again when you have your script written, but you're not handing in the research and storyboard document, and you're also not going to be handing in this document. Your whole project is really going to be your video. So I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. I don't think that I am. I think that's pretty much it, folks. Don't forget, when you want me to look at your script, to message me on the assignment. You can send me a private message, and then I just strongly recommend that you start with Khan Academy. Do your research, write your video script this week, and then hopefully by next Monday you're starting on the video editing. And again, if you guys have any questions, please hop into office hours between 1 and 2. I kind of miss you all. It's weird not seeing anyone every single day, and it'd be nice to see some of you. So please don't hesitate to ask, because that is what I'm there for. I'm there every day. Sometimes I just sit there and look at myself in a webcam for an hour. So all right, folks, that's it. I'm gonna end this video now, and I hope you guys all have a great week. Bye now.